guys, what's up? It's Abby and welcome back to my channel and welcome to today's video. Today is March 23rd, 2022 and it is a beautiful day in Odense, Denmark in my true love Oliver's apartment. Yes, here we are. Boom, boom, boom. Yes, I am currently in Odense. I've been in Odense since January 15th-ish, but I've been in Denmark since the 13th. And unfortunately, I'm gonna be leaving April 5th. So I have about 13 days left of my trip. And I've kind of been in this blissful state with kind of living with Oliver for about 3 months and just kind of enjoying his company. It's been nice. I think kind of what I want to do today is I just kind of want to vlog and preserve some of the moments, kind of the last of the trip that I can cherish and look back on later. And that's just kind of the objective of these videos in general. And I decided I'm going to revamp my channel a little bit to be a lot more about this preservation of just me at 23 now, and what my life looks like and how things are going and what I'm thinking and what next steps do I have, rather than trying to be some sort of influencer. So here we are. Honestly, I think I'm a bit sad that my trip is coming to an end because I think I would like to just stay permanently and just continue to live my life. Obviously things would change. I'd like something else to do other than just being a guest because, to be fair, I have been just living my life doing guestly things of not having school to go to, not having work to do, and kind of being in a bit of what kind of activities and hobbies can I form and learn about myself in this kind of interesting state of I'm on my own, so let's figure out me. And I've been trying to develop new hobbies outside of being a person who consumes way too much YouTube and way too many video games, you know, just kind of finding things I love with the man I love. And it's been a lot of fun. And I think I'm really looking forward to kind of the next step, because 2021 was such a hard year for me. Oliver and I were apart for 1.5 years, and I mean, we've been long distance the entirety of our relationship, but I think that 1.5 years was by far maybe one of the worst periods we've had, both independently. Oliver had been really going through it himself. He had decided to start pursuing a bachelor's, which is why we have this like student apartment in Odense. And so he's finally got some direction, but he also was kind of going through that struggle of what the hell am I doing? Opportunities that he had fallen through, and it just seemed like, you know, I've come to this point, you know, I have kind of what I want to do, but how do I achieve it? And that kind of struggle of falling down and really getting into those kind of depressive funks because, you know, you're working either a job that is just not where you imagined you'd be. Like in his position, he was working at the post office at nights, and in my position, I was working at the bank selling things to people, which I'm definitely not cut out for sales. And I just, you know, we both kind of had that struggle where we kind of finished our education, which in his case was gymnasium, in my case was my bachelor's. And then we tried doing other things to get down the correct path, because now this is the point where there really isn't like a generic path that most people go down. Now it's kind of like, now you got to do all the work and figure it out. And then it's just kind of, it failed at first. And, you know, mentally it was difficult and straining because, I mean, I felt like I was a high achiever at school. I take pride in learning. I love learning. I love the mental challenges. And then I felt like working this job at the bank and having no prospects and no interviews and no like connections and ties to companies in my field, I just felt utterly worthless. And in Oliver's case, he wanted to be a goldsmith at the time, and he had all these beautiful art pieces, and he'd get all these like interviews to be an apprentice, and then you know, the cherry on top is he gets screwed over by somebody, and it just ruins it. And it's like 2021 was so difficult for the both of us, and so being apart for that year and a half was just awful. And I think in some sense, even on this trip, the beginning of it and kind of in the mid, I kind of had the echoes of the kind of the pain that I had experienced in 2021, and dealing with, you know, having to start taking medication for a lot of the downs from feeling so lost. So I'm just kind of, a lot of things have like changed in that year, and I imagine a lot has changed for a lot of people in that sense. So coming in here in January, it's been kind of great. You know, it's like we picked up where we left off, and, you know, now we're closer than ever, and we've really lived on our own for like the first time together, buying food together, paying for things, cooking together, cleaning together, maintaining our own space together, and truly we're completely compatible. And I've applied for the master's program here in Odense, and I'm hoping to get my master's in economics. Either I want to work in government or research or work in education, because I just love the subject so much, and I love learning about the subject, and I love researching the subject and just figure out more and more and more and more and more. I just have to have my brain stimulated, otherwise I get depressed, really, if I don't have some sort of mental stimulation. And so maybe we move in together in September. We'll see what happens, right? But I just am like, wow. Wow, really? So it could be our last trip. I leave in 13 days, but we're not all depressed and crying, because it's very, very likely that I'll get some sort of temporary job for the next couple months. I make some money. Come August, September, I move. I get my visa to be a student, and I live here for at least 2 years, and in those 2 years we'll probably get married at some point so that I can stay permanently, and there we are. We don't have to be apart anymore, and we can go on trips together that aren't just visiting one another, and, you know, we can really start our lives together. And that is really, I think, the ultimate dream, because I don't know, I've felt really stuck at home, and I've come from, I think in some sense, I always feel slightly disattached from my environment and my home. I'm agnostic, living in the Bible Belt, and I find that the culture is so heavily influenced by religion, and so heavily influenced by being in these small town cliques, that I've just always been out. And, you know, for the first time in my life, really, I'm genuinely making real friends that aren't just kind of the temporary facade. I can be myself. I can go out and have fun. And these last 3 months have just been great, because, you know, all the negative thoughts that had been kind of festering in my head, being, you know, you're so incapable of socializing. It's your fault that people don't like you. It's, you know, obviously you won't ever be successful. The things that really fester and pulled down my mind for 2021 on 2022, it just seems to be inaccurate, and I seem to be doing very, very, very well. So we'll see how the rest of 2022 goes, because it could really be the year that is a big change for me, and getting out on my own and finally being independent. So that's exciting. I think I'm sad to be leaving, but also I'm happy to be moving in some capacity. And as far as hobbies go, I have reconnected with a lot of the things that I love. I've reconnected with swimming. I've reconnected with kind of a new hobby, being cooking. I've done a little knitting, but not nearly as much. But cooking has been kind of a new thing, where I liked, you know, a lot of the food isn't pre-made, pre-processed. You have to make it from scratch, and I've been enjoying learning how to cook, doing different recipes, trying different things, and being involved as far as cooking goes with my partner. And I would also say I have found a new love, or maybe rekindled a love for fishing. I have been fishing kind of outdoorsy, kind of going in nature and enjoying the day, being in the sun, casting a line out and just seeing what I can catch for lunch. And it's been very, very nice, and I feel healthy. I feel like I'm not always cooped up inside. I feel like I have a want to go out and do things, and I feel very excited to do more things down the path of my career, because I think the one thing I've always appreciated about Danish culture is that there is a very much a more significant importance on free time and life balance. I mean, they get a year for maternity and paternity leave. There's a focus on, you know, most jobs aren't, I think they're usually 36 hours a week instead of the 40. I think a lot of the time, you know, as far as education goes, the government tries, you know, they support you during this time. They want you to kind of, you know, have fun, learn how to do things, become independent, follow your dreams. Not everyone is pushed to go to university, because in some sense, it's not for everyone. And by not oversaturating the education pool, you get almost a better education. And there's just a lot of things I appreciate. People are very, very genuine and very blunt, but very genuine. They'll tell you how it is. And it's just, it's refreshing. And I mean, I make it seem, all right, here comes the negative. I think I'm not trying to make it seem like I am some, you know, perfect hideaway. I still have the echoes of a lot of the things I've been dealing with. And I think in some sense, I always think, you know, that phrase, the grass is greener on the other side. I don't want to bash my hometown necessarily, but I think being at home is one of those periods where I don't really shine. I don't really show who I am. I tend to get into this toxic cycle just with my family. And I tend to focus on the negative. And I think in some sense, being at home, I feel a little held back, because my goals, my aspirations, they just get held back by whether it be familian, is that the word? Like, not kind of like chameleon, but like family influence. So family's kind of influence on things. I mean, in some sense, lately my big struggle is my mom keeps trying to force me to get these jobs, these really big professional jobs that would really get me stuck in my hometown. And you know, I'm from Chattanooga, Tennessee. I don't want to be stuck in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And I've come to Copenhagen and Odense and this beautiful place. And I mean, of course, grass is green on the other side, but I have these growing pains. And I think this turned from like a vlog to just kind of a ramble and a thought process and kind of a captured memory of where I'm at. And I'm enjoying myself, to say the least. Yeah. Anyways, I'm kind of curious to hear about other people's perspectives. Like, how was your 2021? How was your experience in kind of this post-pandemic? Are you about to kind of go through this phase? Like, I know a lot of people, some people go through it earlier. Some people go through it at college when they start getting more independent. Some people go through it later, kind of like me. Like those who are independent or those who are approaching it, like, what's your feelings and your thoughts? And are there people who kind of knew what they wanted to do from the get-go? I know my dad's one of those. He wanted to be a doctor, and that's just kind of what he has always done. But like, I know there's other people who just kind of don't know. I mean, I think it's more common than we realize that not knowing what the hell you're doing and having a hard time with it is normal. And like how, for those who've been through it, what advice would you give for this kind of period? And how do you focus on the positives and focus on the end goal instead of the current, the present, the suffering, as I would put it in my 2021? Because that job just made me every day. I was just so out of it. And I was not living. I was just existing. So I'm gonna cut this video here. I'm not sure what I'm going to title it. Might call it Growing Pains. Might call it, you know, just the date. But here we are. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.